Welcome back, everybody. Still here for the PIEA Conference Championships, covering the Wilson College and a bunch of different conferences and divisions. My name is Llama77, still joined by your boy Q up here on the desk. Q, we're continuing with our Overwatch Conference Finals. We've got another Division 1 matchup coming up next.
Started with Division 1, we'll continue with Division 1. CB South versus Loyalsock. I feel like whenever I see the Titans cross the stage for some Overwatch, you can expect some fireworks. Loyalsock has had a heck of a semester, though, as well. This should be fun.
Yeah, this one should be a good one. Another one that will decide a lot of where those standings are going to go. We will start with our control points as we usually do, but this time we're actually headed off to Samoa. So that's our map number 1 overall. Of course, it is a first to 3 map wins to take a victorious series overall and crown yourself a conference champions. Of course, this won't be the only Overwatch series we watch in the day. We've got another Overwatch series after this. So front loaded with Overwatch, you'll love to see it.
Should have ate more during the break. Every time I see Samoa, I think Samoa cookies, Girl Scout. Oh, they're so good. Yeah, anyways, Overwatch, though, here for our second map of the day. This should be a lot of fun. I feel like Samoa, a great place to be starting things off. Of course, we talked about it a little bit as far as in that first series, Llama. You know, control, a great place to be able to get the gunnies warm, you get the communications flow. Make sure you're on your P's and Q's before going through the rest of things. I do feel like, though, every time I see CB South play Samoa, I feel like they take it home. So Loyalsock going to have their hands full here on map number 1.
Yeah, this one's an interesting one. Obviously, for these two teams, they just kind of saw the meta shift of what the brand new hero was able to bring for that first map of the day. We immediately saw it get banned away in that map number 1. So interested to see if the Sierra does survive our first bans as we head in to our bans for map number 1. D.Va is going to be taken off the board first.
D.Va was banned right away in our first map of the day, and then we didn't see D.Va after that, which is kind of crazy. You'd figure if it's worthy of a top ban, maybe you'd see D.Va once D.Va is available. So we'll have to keep an eye on that if that is the same case here in our second series of the day. But, you know, kind of continuing moving forward, we got one of every role off of the board. I would say quite a few heroes that we saw banned in that first series, and for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, that Sojourn has been diabolical all across the landscape, and finally we get the EMPer herself joined alongside some really big supportive ultimates, so some trade-ups of some different things, the Sombra taken off the board, and then also the setup on the back end. So excited to see what the teams do with it. Again, these are evergreen bans, so to say. You can't ban them again, but they will be banned away for this entirety of this map number 1. So be excited to see how this series goes over the course of the day today. It's a best of 5 or first to 3, so another exciting one here for these two Overwatch teams.
I hope we get a lot of what we saw in that first control map of the day. Remember, thinking back, it was what, 199, 196. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that here. Again, we do know that when it comes to Overwatch, CB South, you think of PIEA, each title I feel like has a couple of schools that you are used to kind of seeing towards the top, if not at the top. When it comes to Overwatch, CB South, definitely one of those programs. Actually, CB South, if I remember right, at least back in the spring, had quite a few of their teams competing for conference titles. I don't think they quite had the same success as far as in the fall, but obviously their Overwatch team looking to be able to crown themselves champions once more of the Scranton Conference. And it starts here on Samoa. We're putting our feet up in the sand even for our first sub-map. I'm always a big fan of that. Let's get into it.
Oh, we've got the shenanigans back. Jetpack Cat is available here in this map number 1, and Central Buck South are going to run the big Bastion and Jetpack Cat combination. We saw it work really well from our teams back in that previous series number 1. It'll work out this time as both the DPSs are dead from Loyalsock to start out this team fight. Both the Von Thief and 7 Seekers are done, and Fravaki has to try and fight this one off. They do get rid of the Bastion. The problem is that follow-up damage is so good. The Zarya is already charged up to 70, and Central Buck South a really good start to this fight.
Loyalsock doing a good job of staying on their feet, though. Maki doing a great job of keeping a presence on the point means CB South unable to get the control. Now with Quickster down, things get a little interesting. Of course, we do see the flying Bastion out here for Artie, who will be able to push into the back line, put a little bit of additional pressure, but not enough before Loyalsock and the Lancers do get control of this point as they're already up over double digits.
A lot of really good stuff here from Loyalsock, recognizing the coverage that's available here in this sub-map, working under the overhangs to make sure that Artie cannot find anything for free. And it also means that Seven Seekers is just able to free fire here with his Junkrat and continue getting the damage. Quickster still a far ways away from their ultimate as Baki will pop the fortify and hold things down on the low ground. Central Buck South still have yet to get a touch here. They're just searching for some of these ultimates, but a Deadeye will fly out here, and it's just going to be to zone away. Jaiden does find the follow-up kill.
Well, Deadeye had no eye, but Jaiden's still able to follow that thing up like you were talking about. We got the flying cat with the Bastion attached. That feels a little broken, I'm not gonna lie. They haven't been able to find a way to get control of the point just quite yet. Maybe a chance here as they have been able to take down Seven Seekers. Still trying to apply some pressure to the rest of the squad, however, as finally CB South gets their first control of the point.
Get a good look here, and they get already to find a couple kills. Most importantly, they do not invest that artillery 4. However, it's that Pterosaurus that denies it, and it's going to be not even a single charge from that artillery form utilized. The early Graviton to pull them in, and even though the health bars are low here from Loyalsock, it is only Bob that stands in their way with the contest alongside Braden. That's a lot of health to burn through, but Loyalsock should have the members to shut this down.
I should be able to get the control of the point back as well as Braden does fall. Point back on over to the Lancers. Here's the Quickster trying to go around the left side here. We'll wait for the aerial support from Artie as well, as they'll be applying a little bit of pressure, but it seems like the focus fire has been called in from Loyalsock. They've been doing a great job of being able to focus onto Floppy Cakes, then Artie after.
Pressure there. It is already up to 85% here from Loyalsock, who wants to secure submap number 1. They've denied the meta pick, but Central Buck South has 2 ultimates to try and change the fight here for their own good. It is probably just this one fight to work off of, and Artie is already sniped out of the sky. It is all up to Braden to try and take this fight, and they've got Seven Seekers right on top of them. They'll lose the tank. The Quickster is not quick enough, and IHOP Pancake's ultimate goes wide. Loyalsock is going to win this submap 1.
Quite a bit of control from the Lancers, I do gotta say. I liked the creativity of the Hoppy Cakes Artie duo taking to the sky, right? But man, it felt like when it wasn't working, you gotta try and find a way to switch things up. They just kind of kept trying to lather, rinse, and repeat, and they just couldn't.
Good old definition of insanity. Something's not working, just try it again. Doesn't work, try it again. Why not? Eventually it's got to work. For Central Buck South, they are going to swap over to the Echo to give themselves a little bit more aerial potency. It is going to mean that the Quickster is kind of all alone, and so they'll swap back to the Onron to provide some extra ground-based damage, some burn over time, and especially some ability to take down what is 2 very mobile DPSs on the Cassidy and Reaper side that know how to survive this aerial assault. For Central Buck South, they have to win this sub-map if they want a chance to win this first map of the series.
Chance as far as Loyalsock wrapping around the outside will find the opening pick, and that's one of your 2 supports. That should give them plenty of opening to push forward, and that is exactly what they'll do. They've been given the green light, and the Reaper will not stop as they are able to find Braden. It's that little bit more of a stagger, which will allow for them to have control for a little bit longer before the Titans can regroup.
I mean, these early touches are so good from Loyalsock to help build up the percentage, but also their ultimates. They are just out ahead in that ultimate charge. They've been able to set themselves up for success here, and now back-to-back sub-maps, and Central Buck South are going to have to find an answer. Already once again trying to fight from the high ground. That's Zarya starting off with a 0 charge, not the damage that they want to return to this fight, and even with those speed rings on either side, it's Braden not providing enough damage to help Artie survive. They've already lost that critical combination.
here for them to try and make something shake. They got them pushed back a little bit, but not for long. It just feels like every time Loyalsock is able to lock, it feels like their target priority has really been what's been helping them lead the way. Once the dominoes fall, they really do fall over on that Titan side. It seems like they're super dialed in here.
I mean, 50% already is a phenomenal start for them, and a really good read on this matchup so far. Artie is going to swap away and try and provide some more consistent damage that can survive with the coverage. Artie is already taken down to 80 HP though. And once again, it feels like the Quickster has to do a lot of frontlining. This time the Zarya only up to 30 charges. It's the frontline takedown. Jaiden dropped down to half, but it doesn't matter. They survive. They find the Deadeye here, and the focus down from Quickster. It's a 1-for-1 trade. The rally will come out from Liam, and that's the exact boost that they needed. Seven Seekers finds the kill. Baki finds the double, and the Quickster loses everybody as Liam sends them flying off the map.
I can only imagine what the players from CB South are feeling right now, because I am personally at a loss for words. Usually when we see Central Buck South on screen, they dominate. Here, especially on this second submap, they haven't been able to get anything cooking here, Llama. It just feels like Loyalsock has come with a game plan that CB South just has not been able to find or read on. The Reaper looks to pop the ult, not going to be able to find much value there, but right back into play here off the back of it.
I mean, part of it was Jaiden is having a phenomenal map number one. This Cassidy can have so much burst damage if you can land your shots, and that's exactly what they did. It's a sweep here for Loyalsock Downship as the Lancers start out map number one with a dub in their favor. So this is a great start for the series to them, and for Central Buck South, I mean, I don't hate, again, that combination of the front line, but you've got to find something different to work.
Yeah, you've got to find at least a different approach if you're going to keep the same duo together. And you had mentioned Jaiden having a good game, does a good job of still being able to find those pickings in the air. That opens things up for the rest of the squad to get the control here on that point. And wow, talk about being able to come in and set the tone in map number one for a Loyalsock Township squad, who I do believe technically is sitting like on the bubble as far as states. They've got a lot to play for here today. And man, they've come out swinging.
It's the way you want to do it, though. I mean, starting off quick, we've got to remind ourselves that from now on, after our first series completed after the day, all of these players are playing live in person from Wilson College. So that extra LAN environment can add an additional layer of, okay, did you have driving distance to go to? What does your morning routine look like? You're not playing at your usual time. You're not playing at your usual day, but you still have to perform not only to the level you're performing in regular season, but to an even better level if you want to win here today.
That whole LAN environment really picks things up a little bit. We see it year after year, Llama. Players who, you know, can bounce back from maybe rougher performances. It's different when all of a sudden you can hear the team on the other side of the facility yelling and being excited, and all of a sudden the comms maybe on your side not quite as loud. So CB South certainly going to need to find a way to make sure that they can lock things on in here, because also I am looking as far as at that state champion or the state playoffs line. I do believe technically they aren't fully locked in, so if they are wanting to guarantee their future, they also kind of need a Dubsky here as well, Llama.
Got to solidify things here, and honestly, the conference championship, just one half of what you kind of want to accomplish here in the postseason. For so many of these teams, it's about searching for that state title that'll happen here in just a few weeks. But also for these two teams, we've also got to remind ourselves that it's not just a culmination of just the spring season. Those point totals are from both seasons in total. So if you didn't perform well enough in fall, you have to make up some slack here in spring to try and make it to those states.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, now that I do look at where CB South City, because we know they performed quite well in the fall. So maybe have not quite had been able to find a way to duplicate that success in the spring. Of course, I do see that their total that is here says they have been completely tallied in their spring. So maybe I am a little bit off as far as that is concerned. But let's kind of focus back in on this matchup here as far as the Titans and the Lancers. We're going towards map number 2, Llama. And, you know, last time around, as far as in that first matchup, we went straight from control into Flashpoint. I don't know if that's going to be really an option here for CB South. I don't think things were close enough. What you got thinking in the back of your mind of where you would like to see us go next?
I'm pretty similar in the thought process, and I'm just a big hater of Flashpoint. I think it's just such a tough mode to get control and get your game flow actually going because you lose so many of those points so quickly. But I would say you go to one of those payload modes at the very least. If you're choosing one of the flash or push, I'm probably choosing push over top of that just to get that differentiation of mode and get a little bit more neutral objective that, like you talked about before, does usually survive for longer than some of those other modes. But I mean, at this point, this is the critical map, right? We've said it. We're going to talk about it all day. This map number 2 becomes so much of importance that if you're the Titans and you don't win your own map selection, you've got to win 3 straight, even though you'll have those map picks. That is very tough to do here on LAN.
It's incredibly tough to do here on LAN. And you talk about those bans. This is something that it kind of throws that extra little like wrench into it, because while you might think about where you want to go for a map pick, who knows, maybe one of the heroes that you were thinking the reason you wanted to go there, especially as we do go into map 2, ends up not being available. Honestly, it's been really kind of fun seeing that thrown. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first year that we have fully incorporated the hero ban in on Overwatch here for PIA, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying seeing kind of the adjustments that are needing to be made. I also really like the way that tests our students a little bit, and also as you know, you and I are people who would do a little bit of collegiate calling, allows for them to get prepared for the next level too.
I mean, that's super fun, right? Especially those state championships. I know a lot of our collegiate partners are going to be there to be recruiting. I know the Mount, and especially for Waynesburg, they've had some really good success over the course of a last season in the spring from finding some of the recruits, from PIA and being able to evolve and keep them in state at home and get that really rooted network out for all of the support. So super cool to see. And if you guys haven't checked out all of those and all of our Night Owl streams here for TEC, those are fun as well.
Yeah, those are fun. Unfortunately, those have come to a conclusion for the school year. But as you did say, we've seen a lot of success, especially for Waynesburg, who was having a lot of their games streamed over there here this year. I think I'd heard maybe some rumors that we'll see some more of our partnered programs on stream for those Night Owl streams as far as next year, which would be super cool. Because like you said, it's been really fun to see just the talent from PIA being able to continue to compete at the next level. We talk about it every year. I know you got to enjoy a little bit of collegiate esports. That wasn't quite a thing back when I was in school, but it's really cool to see that it continues to grow. It continues to get not just the support from the universities, but it's continuing even to see more parents really supporting the scene as the actual competitive esports scene continues to have more growth to it.
And hey, you never know, Q. I know you're pretty crazy on those Rocket League sticks. Maybe it's time for you to go back and find
I got eligibility left, baby.
You still got 4 years. Put them in, man. Put them in. But yeah, I mean, that next level is super cool to see the delegation from not only going to the collegiate level, some players going off to the pro level, and how that pipeline kind of works at times. And, for game titles like Rocket League or even Apex, which we go to in our home grounds, you've got a lot of open signups where you could just be a nobody, so to say, and put your name out there, find open qualifications. Let's lock back in, though, to the map selection here. It is Havana is where we're going for map number 2.
Interesting place to go off to here. I don't hate it, as we do go into an escort map, so no hybrid, so more of that traditional. I know that was one thing that you had mentioned before. The escort can sometimes be tough as far as like getting out of the blocks, which I do have some concerns with for CB South, more probably because of the way that second sub map looked compared to the first. And now all of a sudden, a similar spot where for CB South, yeah, map number 1 doesn't necessarily need to be indicative of how the rest of the series goes, but you have to lock in now going into map number 2. And I'm be curious to see which side of things they opt to start on.
You get that side selection back the other way. Havana is also one of those maps where it's not only very tough to get out because it's just a base escort map, but it's one of those that is really tough to actually escape that starter first selection. So we'll have to see where we go. We're going back to the banning here for this setup on map number 2. Sigma is actually going to get a target ban here as one of the tanks taken off the board.
Go ahead and see what else is going to get taken off the board. I always love to see when my dad does come into play. So unfortunately not going to be the case here in game number 2. No Sigma. Also not going to be seeing the Wild West shooter out here. So seeing another damage player taken off the board. Question becomes, is it going to be a support or a tank taken off the board for the last one? Does look like Kirko gone. Now we got our 4 off the board. Llama, what are we thinking for as we get ready for Havana?
I think that's pretty smart. Obviously, taking some of the support ultimates away from the backline there. I do think for Central Buck South, the game plan has to be there. As much as the pressure is on to build another composition, you have to win this map if you want a chance to win this series, unless you want to try and pull off the reverse sweep. I don't think it would be exhilarating and fun, so to say, but not necessarily what you want to do in a grand championship style for the conference championships either. But Central Buck South, we did see some really good glimmering moments from them in map number 1, and I'm excited to see what they bring with those bans locked in.
Yeah, again, we know this is a team that has the ability to pop off, but you did say everything changes when you go to land. Loyalsock, well, they certainly seem to be locked in. Can the Titans do the same, or will they potentially be looking down the barrel of a reverse sweep? It will be Havana that decides to set the story as far as moving forward. It does look like going to be an interesting start to things here. Loyalsock all grouped together as they'll be on the offensive side.
They will put the pressure on here first, is what they're going to try and do. So Central Buck South trying to play it a little bit safer, picking the defensive side here. And again, Havana is not an easy map to escape from this spawn side. So I definitely do not hate it. The changes up this time is going to be the Ramatra, which I think gives them a lot more brawling potential. The front to back is a lot smarter, especially because you have 2 more hit scan anchors on this DPS line. And for Central Buck South, you also bring the Ana, who can bring a lot of potential, but Jaiden is already forcing them out from this top balcony.
Jaiden with the Bastion, and we saw Bastion not quite find the success from CB South in that last map. See how Jaiden can work the sticks here when it comes. Well, probably actually a mouse with keyboard, let's be honest. But for map number 2, Jaiden, though, does get caught overextending. They will fall. However, I don't know if that's going to be enough to slow down this Lancer squad for now, at least until 7 Seekers falls as well.
And the pressure is really good from taking down that DPS line and taking down 7 Seekers, but for Loyalsock, they have to be so careful about fighting face front to the Quickster. Ramatra, we said it, so much brawling potential, so much front line for them, and using those speed rings from the Thief on the back line to be able to get in fast, get out fast just the same, and Central Bucks starting to hold the line.
And looking pretty darn good over on that side as they've seemingly locked on in. I almost wonder if maybe just going back to what feels comfortable versus trying to break out the Bastion and forcing things is really what's gotten them into their groove. However, will be Artie that falls, and now there's a chance if they can find themselves a second for Loyalsock to push forward. However, Central Buck South doing a great job of staying on their feet.
They have held them really well, even though they lost control of the balcony early. They have cut down 2 minutes of time here. IHOP Pancakes and the Quickster both falling very, very low, and the Quickster does pop the ultimate here at the end of things. They'll survive for long enough. They get the nano on top of Braden as well, so the damage comes on through. The anti-nade connects out of Jaiden, taking them down, and the rally is going to try and keep them alive. Loyalsock, though, will falter to Artie's wide open eye. It's the override for a double kill.
Nice job here as far as from Central Bucks South to eventually be able to bring things to an end, and that's before that first checkpoint. So they haven't been able to unlock more time, and now the respawn almost going to be working against the Lancers here. This could be dangerous, Lom.
No payload, no real chance to fight it here on a face front look. They need to fight from those high-low positionings, but the Ravenous Vortex plus the kill from Braden just absolutely shuts them down. Double kill from Braden, double kill from Quickster. Loyalsock downshift. We're going to have to save up their ultimates and realistically look for one more fight as they try and avoid the stall out.
Trying to chase down this one more, stagger out a little bit as the Reaper now going to be gone. 7 Seekers back into respawn, and almost feels like because of that, the Lancers may have to wait because they really do only get probably one more solid team fight at this. You don't want to go into it already short a player. Now with 35 seconds left, it's now or never if you're going to unlock the second point.
30 seconds to get it done. Central Buck South has really made a statement here to try and force things out. Jaiden has the bomb available, but it's going to be a double anti to the back line. Jaiden has found themselves a nice slice and dash, but it's only a 1-for-1. And with the Quister catching Skelefrost from that Ravenous Vortex, the fight just may be over. Baki trying to fight solo and survive with that Fortify, but the team is stunted away. Already finds themselves a double kill. The Ravenous Vortex is able to eat them alive here. And Central Buck South, it looks like their map pick has found them some success.
Definitely had a game plan coming in here on the defensive side, and they were able to execute it to a T. 7 Seekers, Jaiden, Skelefrost all down. Baki doesn't have much help on the support side, which means the rest of the team also will fall, and they don't even get it to 78 meters. CB South making a statement on the defensive side.
Pressure was good, and their team fights were even better. This is the Central Buck South team we were searching for back in that map number 1. And they look like they want to even things out. Now, of course, they still need to jump over to their own attacking side. And we said it, this map is one of, if not the toughest, to try and get that payload pushing. But 1 or 2 good team fights is all it takes to turn the tide. And for Loyalsock, trying to do what they can to deny this series from going even.
Last 5 seconds here before CB South sees the doors go down. And they get their chance to try and push this payload a mere 78 meters. Loyalsock on the defensive side, they're going to have their hands full. Doesn't look like they're going to be switching things up. I guess they're switching things up at least a little bit. I was also going to point out, I don't think I got to talk about on the first map. We didn't see Junkrat at all in our first series. Seeing the Junkrat come out here should be fun. Let's see if the Tiger can buy him some extra help on the defensive side.
I also think this map specifically really does benefit from the Junkrat of being able to bounce those nades, play from a safer spot, especially from the balcony, and just drop them from above. That being said, you've got to find a way to get through the Quickster, who right now is sitting almost in the lead in terms of damage if it weren't for Artie's incredible start. And I don't hate bringing out the Widow either. If Artie can find a pick or just grab some information here to start things off, get back, get a quick swap, that can only help out your team.
Jaiden and company here for Loyalsock. They know that they have to hold the line. It all starts with being able to set the tone in this first team fight. Baki and Jaiden already sitting low. Your front line, your tank has to find a way to get back, which just means more pressure forward from CB South as they looked around the corner.
Ooh, a little pressure on the power shot there. Not bad. Artie sticks with this Widow. I don't hate it at this point. You've still got so much time to work off of. And that frontline Void Barrier is so good. The Ravenous Vortex and the slow that comes with it. Once again, catching the back line. Artie's going to go for a swap. That'll slow down this hit coming through from Central Buck South. But realistically, again, they only need 1 fight win. But that is much easier said than done.
Is most certainly a lot easier said than done. And we saw how big of a struggle it was for Loyalsock around this corner. Central Buck South seems to be seeing a lot of those same issues, especially with a similar sort of scenario where the payload is already around the corner, albeit not quite as deep as the Lancers were able to push it. But you don't have that to help break line of sight. Now, kind of out in the open, unless you go into one of these side lanes. But the problem is in the side lanes, you're kind of all cluttered together, so you pick your poison.
One's gonna still kill you either way. Loyalsock trying to fight their effort here. If they could find a way to hold for 2.5 minutes, when you're talking about the possibility of going up 2-0, the problem is you've already lost 7 Seekers. Baki down to half health. Jaiden already down low, but it doesn't matter. They've got the healing from the back line. 2 minutes still left to go. Quickster's got the ultimate, and the Purple Storm will eat 2 alive. Loyalsock tries to go for the eye from the sky, but Jaiden's only going to find the 1, maybe 2. Hold on just a second. The heavy shots, the power of the sun from Liam keeps it alive. And even though the Quickster is going to push, Liam should be able to get the stun before they get to the checkpoint.
Get just enough to at least get close, but not close enough. You can see the payload has the front tires over. Not quite the second, as Baki has been able to find the touch. 90 seconds to fight for your life here for Loyalsock. And if you can hold the line, would be such a big momentum builder to try and complete the sweep. It's up to Central Buck South to try and push these last couple meters.
Very unchivalrous from Jaiden, taking that first kill on the other side. Already's got the ultimate. They're so low here already. Does it matter? Heavy bullet after heavy bullet. That should seal the deal. A signature delivery from the Titans as they tie this series up.
And that is how you bounce back in a series. Map number 1 might not have looked the cleanest for the Titans, a team that's usually able to establish a sense of dominance out on the server. But here on Havana, Titans get back to their winning ways, and it's the fisticuffs, it's the play of the game here for the Quickster. And man, talk about as far as for CB South, again, I think it's important noting for a team that usually is able to establish dominance on a server. Usually when we see teams like that, if they falter, sometimes it's hard for them to regain. This is a big map number 2 to put themselves right back into it.
It's not only a big map for them, but also the game plan that they were able to bring into this map number 2. Their map selection joined alongside the bans and the hero selection was just beautiful to see that cohesion. Now all of a sudden we have got a real series on our hands. Both teams have got one map in their favor. The map selection will jump back to Loyalsock Township here as they get to decide where to go next. Their pool is starting to shrink, though, on really where they can pick.
Yeah, but I mean, after seeing the stark difference in a control-ish style map and a traditional pushcart map, like, you're probably going Flashpoint for map 3. Like, I feel like that's the easy answer here, right, Llama?
It's pretty obvious to me, but at the same time, maybe they see something that we did not. Maybe the control didn't feel as strong as it looked on the surface from that percentages, and maybe at the same time they want something that is a little bit slower for those team fights, because even though that was a payload map, we were talking that it was something different in terms of the speed. But Cervasa is going to be the selection. We will go to the beautiful flowering landscape and a Flashpoint selection.
Yeah, I think that might have been our quickest map selection thus far. That wasn't a map 1 from our 2 games. Very quickly saying, yeah, Flashpoint, and I can't be too surprised that it's Cervasa as well. I feel like that seems to be a favorite here at not only I would say PIA, but I feel like just when it comes to Flashpoint in general, it seems like Cervasa is kind of the norm.
Yeah, it just feels like a little bit more well-known at this point. Everybody's playing it more. It has more of those angles to actually boot people off the edge, that I think also adds a little bit more fun to the overall ideals. But this one's a big one. I mean, as much as this one is fun for us, the players have got to be stressed out. This is a map number 3 that somebody is going to get to series point first with 2 chances to try and close it out.
Wondering who's feeling more of the pressure, though, because surely CB South feeling pretty confident after that map number 2, but I know you had mentioned that maybe on the other side for the Lancers, they didn't feel quite as dominant on control, but I feel like I would be able to puff my chest out a little bit going back to a Flashpoint, the way that first map looks. So I guess maybe it's really all about how the first team fight looks, probably, to let you know who's feeling the more confidence going into this thing, but we were hoping for a back and forth affair. I know our first matchup, although was a back and forth in those maps, ended up being a sweep, or at least guaranteed the 4th. Let's see how map number 3 breaks down here, though.
When we get all 5, I'm hoping we get to go the distance, at least in some of our series here today. Our final Division 1 match here for Overwatch. Of course, the schedule today, we've got a front-loaded Overwatch. We continue with Division 2 Overwatch after this matchup with Lancaster Catholic versus Hempfield. And then we get a little bit of a lunch break. But after lunch, Q, we get 3 different titles, 3 different divisions as well. 2 different divisions, I guess. Division 1, Division 3, but still a ton of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun here left for the day. After this one, 4 matchups, 4 different titles. This is really what PIEA is all about, being able to display a wide range of talent. I think this is probably one of my favorite parts about LAN, is to being able to see everything coming together. I know, especially for states, when we're in person as well, makes it that much more special. But as we have been in person in the past for conference finals here, Llama, we know just how much this means for the students to be able to get together to compete at the end of the semester and not only have some hardware on the line, but to be able to get together in a sense of community as well is pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of these teams, they're going to have players graduating and moving on to whatever is next for them. So what I always think is really cool, one of my older broadcast partners talked to me about, is he said that there's only going to be one instance of all these teams for this time in history. That when we look back at it, when all these players graduate, sure, the teams are going to evolve, they're going to improve, and they're going to find new players to reload. But there will only be one of these teams in this time. And for a lot of these players, this might be the last time they're playing in this instance of a team before they lose some of the players to graduation.
Yeah, last hurrah with the squad before whether it's your seniors move on or maybe even have some of your players who just switch on to other adventures. You never really quite know what's going on out in the wild world that there is, especially when it comes to Scholastic, man. Sometimes it's time to buckle in and focus on the grades, you know what I mean? So it's always kind of hard to say, but yeah, I think that's a really good point, right? Like, enjoy the moment. And surely, I think for our squads, enjoying the fact that they're in person for the moment here as well. But let's go ahead and see who's going to be taken off of the board as we get ready for map number 3.
Back to the bands here. It is going to be the Sojourn band away this time around. So DPS taken off the board to start. We're actually going to go to the back line and take the Juno off the board. Both teams have been able to utilize those speed rings super well, but I also think the orbital laser is just really tough to fight around if you're on the back end or the losing end of that trade. So I don't hate that ban as well for number 2.
We'll not be seeing now 2 supports that will be taken off of the board, as now that Anna will be banned for pick number 3. So now 1 more to be off the board. Is it another damage, or do we see our only tank taken off? And it will indeed be the Ramatra off of the board. So 4 heroes banned. Ban phase officially complete. Our heroes will now take their time to figure out what assembly of a composition they want to put together here for Servasa. Make sure you don't blink or you might miss it. Getting ready here for Flashpoint for map number 3.
Big map number 3. Winner of this one moves on to series point and only has to win 1 more. They are also guaranteed, if they lose map number 4, that map selection going into map number 5 to try and decide a game plan. And I feel like you asked, I mean, who is kind of under more pressure here going into this map number 3? And I'd have to argue it's Loyalsock. They haven't won since back in map number 1. If you lose 2 straight, you lose a ton of momentum, especially losing your own map selection. That being said, I mean, even map number 2 was a close one. These 2 teams have been battling to a T throughout the entire series so far.
Well, ain't no more time to talk about it. It's time to be about it. Door's about to go down. Map number 3 is officially underway, and you had mentioned, Llama, one of these 2 teams is going to put themselves onto that series point, that conference championship point at the conclusion of this. There's a chance that this first team fight could very well let us know which version of CB South has come to play on map 3.
And interestingly enough, we've got some swaps. It's going to be mainly for Central Buck South. They're bringing back in the Orisa. They've got Artie on the Cassidy to completely rip through these backline shields on the single shot 6-shooter. And it is Central Buck South that do get the first touch. Braden is going to be so strong here if they get those first touches, just to lay in the turrets, slow things down, get that sim charge going, and really just deal a ton of damage to the backline, as Jaiden is the first casualty in this one.
A great job of holding the line at the door here is CB South, and since they had already capped that point, with how quick things go in Flashpoint, we're already over that 40%. Loyalsock has not found a way to be able to breach the walls and get in here and be able to apply any sort of pressure onto the point. Even Baki here does have to fall back, even though no one's looking his way, not even able to buy any sort of space.
Yes, it was high noon there. Brayden able to find that follow-up kill, and even though Artie goes a little bit too far, Brayden is just full charge here, has to hit the reload, and has that front line from the Quickster to be able to continue to deal the damage. Jaiden survives under single-digit HP, but I don't know if the fight is survivable. Central Buck South is already at 95%. Seven Seekers will try and teleport to the backline here as they will deny the Katsune rush. Katsune is denied, but so is the Quickster. It's 3 kills straight here from Loyalsock. They continue their fight, and they'll find the one they needed.
What a play by Seven Seekers to be able to teleport into the back line. It's absolutely disruptive, and alongside the rest of their squad will be able to complete the team wipe, and they do indeed have control of this point. The problem, Central Buck South is up at 99, so as long as they are able to finish up a fight and get control of the point number 1 is theirs.
That is, once again, very much easier said than done here for Central Buck South. As Loyalsock has got 4, make that 3 ultimates left to go here. Jaiden pops the early Deadeye, but unfortunately just could not find the timing to hold it. It's the Terra Surge that finds that first blood here in the fight. Loyalsock needs the patience. They've got a Terra Surge of their own, but it doesn't matter. Quickster with the double. Loyalsock with only 1 DPS left to go, and that should close out the fight in Flashpoint number 1.
Well, they at least made it look closer. 76% was what the Lancers ended up getting up to, but the point still ends up going over to CB South. Remember, it's a race to 3 of them things here, and there's a chance for them to be able to pull it off faster than not. Loyalsock does have the spawns that will allow for them to be relatively close to this flashpoint. It unlocks in the next 20 seconds.
Beautiful little sim wall here to take space inside of the flashpoint, but also get that full boost coming through. It allows Brayden to set up the turrets here on this next point, get those slows going, but Brayden will be the first to fall. Those slow turrets trying to deny Loyalsock some space as they trade 1 for 1 on DPS line. Artie still has a Deadeye available, but a Death Blossom from Seven Seekers could really change this fight.
Roll finally over to CB South as they do officially start ticking up on the point. And just like they did on the first point, they'll look to try and hold them off at the doorway. Baki does push forward and onto the point, but they've already lost some of their support, which means they will end up falling as well. And Central Buck South already up to that 30%.
Back-to-back really good spears there from the frontline Quickster, getting access to the Terra Surge first in both of these 2 fights. It's going to be the Quickster playing a little bit far forward, but they're okay with that. They're already up to 50%, and if they win one more fight, a danger of going up to map point already. A Terra Surge available, as we talked about, for Quickster. Rally going to be forced out. A delayed Terra Surge will hold them off of the bridge, and the big shield is not enough. IHOP Pancakes brings out their own rally, but Artie's got a takedown from the headshot hoedown. Skelefrost will be the target with only 20% left to go. Loyalsock's got to find an answer.
See, everyone else was able to tuck out a line of sight, but the one lone player unfortunately caught all of the ultimate, and they did end up paying the price. Loyalsock will be able to take control of the point once again, while Central Buck South is at 99. That does mean that they're going to have to hold the line for the duration, this time a little bit longer, as they had yet to be able to put any percentage up until that point.
They do have a couple ultimates to work off of. Most importantly, I would say, is that Death Blossom that can immediately turn around a fight. For Central Buck South, they've already got the Katsune Rush. It's just a single ultimate. Is it enough? It feels like it. The supports are dead. Everybody eats. 4 different players, 4 different kills, and that should be the sub-map. Almost set up here for Central Buck South's favor. They find flashpoint number 2, and they're on map point.
Talked about how quick these flashpoint maps can go by, and while it hasn't been the fastest, it's pretty darn quick. Central Buck South has been able to move with a pretty good sense of urgency. We've seen at both of the sub maps, they were able to get relatively quick control and then hold off the Lancers at the doorway. This time around, it's Seven Seekers and company who's the first ones there, but it doesn't matter. Seven Seekers falls immediately.
Artie's been having a heck of a series. I mean, takes that 1v1 in stride with the rest of the team. It is a Deadeye up and available here. It's the only ultimate, but Jaiden finds a massive ultimate to find the combination off the back of Baki. The Quickster gets one back, sure, but that is not going to be enough to stall away Loyalsock Township. They'll get the extended touch here, so we'll delay for just about an extra second, but they're back on this Mercy. They're back for the res here, and with so many ultimates available, this is the best chance Loyalsock has had to take a flashpoint.
Here we are trying to see if they at least can put themselves into a good chunk of a lead before at least moving on to this next point. See if maybe they can even have a clean third sub-map and see if they can just cleanly take this thing away from Central Buck South. They'll be able to, unfortunately, have to fall back actually now. That's the third player that does fall, and man, it just feels like Central Buck South quickly looking to regain control.
These single ultimates, man, especially that sim wall, so good. Quickster, I don't know if you needed the Terror Surge, but it's good enough to take down the tank on the other side. And all of a sudden, it flips back to the Titans' favor. One ultimate remains after all of the dust settles here for the Titans, and it is that rally. So IHOP Pancakes looking for that big shield. But once again, 2 DPS ultimates on the other side. As long as you don't get picked, this should be a Loyalsock fight.
I feel like this should turn the cards in your favor. You have to get big value off of those ultimates. Artie now going to have that Deadeye available to them here as well. Both teams over 50%. Artie will be the first to fall, though.
That's a great takedown from Skelefrost, who targets the back line. Central Buck South with 2 active ultimates. Kitsune Rush, Rally are both going to be popped here. Supportive side looks. Loyalsock trying to delay here, but Skelefrost has delayed for long enough. They've got the Kitsune Rush already late back to this fight, but will have the Deadeye coming from across their angle. And Loyalsock used all their ultimates to get nothing. And now the Deadeye will delay them even further. Artie will keep the push away. 95%. Snipes away 7 Seekers, and overtime is activated. Artie finds the double kill. Loyalsock retreating. Artie, a triple kill. That should be enough. Central Buck South, off of the back of a quadra kill from Artie, have found map number 3.
Hey, remember in map number 1 where I said it just didn't feel like the same CB South we had seen all semesters? Well, it feels like they woke up in map number 2, and then in map number 3, just put the foot down. They have put themselves ahead in this series, and one more map win will be crowning themselves champion. And can't be surprised that play of the game goes to Artios. That play at the end, I think it ended up being 4 altogether, and kind of spacing out the last 2, but still getting hitting the shots when necessary. Technically, there was a 4th that came at the off screen at the end of that as well.
I will say, though, on both of these 2 scoreboards in back-to-back games, Artie has had a phenomenal map. Don't get me wrong, but the Quickster actually out-damaging them from that tank side and getting that full charge in multiple games, getting to see what the Zarya was able to do, and then those Terra Surges, those max 300% Terra Surges to get the kills and access the Terra Surges before Loyalsock was able to, was those big game changers. Now, all of a sudden, for Central Buck South, they are the ones in the advantage column. They've got 2 chances to try and knock this series out of the park.
They do have 2 chances at it, but we did see that when we did see Loyalsock was able to build up at least a little bit on their map pick as far as in that second one. So maybe a chance for them to kind of do the same thing here with where they opt to go. The question, though, is, Llama, well, where do we go? We do at least know as far as what playlist will be in hybrid, right? Because Control was off the board, Escort was off the board, right? Escort was the second map. Yeah, Escort was off the board, and then Flashpoint. So yeah, we'll be into hybrid. The question is, do we go to Hollywood, Midtown, or Palacio? It feels like Midtown, though. I feel like that's where we always go, right? I mean, can you guys anything other than that?
I mean, Midtown has just been such a staple. I think there's a chance that Hollywood is really good if you like playing those backside angles, if you love especially something like an Ashe, which we have seen across this series from both of the 2 teams, or something like a Cassidy that can play those head peaks super well. But either way, I mean, a lot of pressure now does fall on Loyalsock. If they don't win 2 maps straight, the series is over for themselves. And we talked about for these 2 teams that are trying to bounce back from what was their fall and spring performances, trying to secure themselves for state playoffs, this is a really big series to do so.
Yeah, again, when we look as far as at the current picture, I think it's technically CB South that's like just inside the bubble, Loyalsock just outside the bubble. But of course, that's still relying on everyone else's results as well. Unfortunately, they're in a position where they don't necessarily control their own destiny. CB South a little bit more so, and especially with the fact that they're leading in this series currently. But Loyalsock, man, the fight ain't over just quite yet. You got to pick your head up as you do get ready for map number 4. I know that flashpoint didn't quite work out in your favor, but neither did map number 1, and you were able to bounce back into your map pick. So I'm excited to see what they're bringing to the table here for map 4.
I'll be really excited to see kind of where they're going to go as well. But I also think, unfortunately, because you have to go to a hybrid here in map number 4, Central Buck South, they get the advantage once again. They're probably going to start on the defensive side. They will probably know how far they need to get as well. So we'll have to see if they can push that issue and really find the bounce back into this one, even starting on that attacking side.
Yeah, you beat me to my point, which was going to be the fact that they probably are starting on the defense, right? They looked so good. They really cleaned up these team fights. Like, why not continue to put the pressure on the Lancers, who now essentially have a foot out the door, right? They lose one more map, and things are done and dusted as far as when it comes to the conference finals. As far as state playoffs, well, that's still yet to be determined because we still have to finalize those numbers in the back. But yeah, I mean, I think when you talk about the here and now for Loyalsock, you still got to make sure you're on top of your things moving forward. I think they're in a pretty solid spot. Just have to wait and see which map we're actually off to.
I'll have to wait for the map, and then of course the bans that are coming through after that I think will really change what's actually going to happen across this next map as well. Getting those targeted bans, you get 2 of them as a team. You can't ban obviously more than 2 of each type, but I also think it's important to have that constructed, I guess, game plan amongst not only your map picks, but everything else that you can control.
Quite a stark difference thinking back to how quickly we switched to pick up and flashpoint, go to Servase, like, hey, we know exactly where we're going. Now Loyalsock, well, they know just how much of the weight of their choice, their decisions here at this point, and unsurprisingly, we're seeing that little bit of extra time being used. You mentioned, we know what playlists we're in. We just don't know where we're off to. I think each map kind of does give you a little bit of differences as far as what kind of style you want to play as well. So kind of understanding as far as why the Lancers are taking a little extra time here. I'm not gonna lie, the suspense is kind of killing me. Here it is. Let's see where we're off to for map number 4. Yeah, Midtown. Off to the tried and true for map 4.
Yep, we'll go back to Midtown here. It is a classic one, but it is also one that I think for the Lancers, if you assume you're starting out on the attacking side, which I would say is more likely because of CB South and what they did select in that map number 2, it gives you a lot more space to play off of. You have that hybrid mode as well, that you win that first team fight, you unlock the payload, you really start to get your feet under you instead of, you know, what that second map was. So it's a must-win, obviously, for the Lancers, but at the same time, this could also force our first map 5 of the day, and that prospect alone is super exciting.
Always love to see things go the distance. The Lancers would need to really bounce back here, and I think because of that bounce back, we could say that they would have the momentum going into that map 5 for sure, because it would be such a stark difference from how maps 2 and 3 went compared to map 4 if they come out on top. Midtown, we talked about it earlier when Midtown came across in that first series. It tried and true, so both the Lancers as well as the Titans should have a pretty good game plan and idea of what they want to accomplish. But Llama, there is still one more thing that we have to figure out before taking to the server itself. We've had 3 rounds of bans. Those are those evergreen bans like you talked about. You can only ban them once. So that means we've had 12 heroes taken off the board that will not be banned going into Midtown. Have any ideas as what you might anticipate coming off the board here?
Well, if I'm going to be honest, it seems like these 2 teams don't really care about the evergreen bans. They're just like, we're just going to ban Soldier every single time. But either way, I think it also comes down to there's a lot of power in the front line that these teams have been generating. So I wouldn't hate to see some more targeting towards that DPS side. I would love to see a Cassidy taken off the board if I'm Loyalsock, to be able to put a lot more pressure on the overall pick that is coming through but it does seem like there are a lot of answers, right? When you're looking for a ban, you're looking to ban something away that doesn't have similar types of things in the hero pool. And let's be honest, there are a million hit scaring heroes at this point. So we'll see if there is an answer there if the ban does come through.
Who do you guys think is going to be taking things home here? Looks like we've opened things up for a vote in chat. Exclamation CBS if you're rooting for the Titans from CB South. If you're back in the Lancers, go ahead and type an exclamation point LS in chat for Loyalsock. And, is this going to be the final map of our second conference championship here today? Well, we're only a couple of moments away from finding out if that is going to be the case. Loyalsock, they looked good out of the gates. We were questioning what was going on land there in map number 1, but since they have taken control, CB South have not relinquished it here in the series.
Gone back-to-back maps, and there's a chance for them to pull off the gentleman's sweep here, walk away as that number 1 seeded victor, and try and lift themselves further and further into those state standings. And like we said, if you aren't already, make sure you're following here, because we've got state stuff starting up here in just literally 2 days to get our first action going for those state playoffs. And then, of course, you go until later on this month. We've got Championship Saturday on May 30th. We've got it live from the Mount, such an amazing venue that can be able to house so many. I mean, we've got a full Smash stream we're going to have. We've got our other streams as well. It's going to be a fun time. If you haven't booked your tickets already, make sure to do so.
Make sure y'all are there and in person. I really enjoyed the venue last year. They have not only the cool state, they had the cool setups as far as for the streams. They had a cool little area where they like the downtime area. They had some ping pong, some pool. They had the streams going on out there as well. Honestly, I really enjoyed them out last year while we were there. So excited to be back there as well for states. But we still have to figure out which, more than likely, which of these two teams is going to be going. I feel like CB South. Feel like they're locked with when they add their points in from the spring, but we still don't know that for sure. For Loyalsock, though, it does feel like they do need to bounce back here if they're going to find a way to punch their ticket into that state playoff. So a lot on the line, not just hardware today, but a chance to keep the rest of your season alive, essentially.
And I think as well, everybody's kind of looking at how those points are shaken out. And I mean, somebody's got to take down McDowell. Right now, they're sitting at the top of the list. They look really, really good, I've got to say. And if I was going to say one of the teams that I'd expect making it to that state championship, they are definitely up there. And, it's not just, okay, we made states, we made that top 12. It's, okay, if we make it as the 12 seed, maybe we're playing McDowell in that second round after the bye, which is not ideal. Yeah,
I think that's why, even though for CB South, you probably feel rather confident with where you're at when it comes to playoff seeding, a win here does help push you up into those seedings. Again, putting you, I would say, further away from McDowell, but technically it's closer to McDowell in this, but you know what I mean, further away from that matchup against the McDowell. But here we are getting ready to go off to Midtown. We've got to figure out which 4 heroes are going to be off of the board at CB South with that first. Did we already have Cassidy banned? Or am I thinking back to the last one?
I guess here today.
All right. You know what? I'll roll with it. I'm here for it.
Cassidy off the board, though, I think is smart. Like we said, it's been a huge pick from Artie. We'll get the similar bans as well coming through. No cleanse, no Kitsune rush from the back line. Ramatra going to be added on the top as the cherry, and with one more left to go. Let's see what Central Buck South wants to ban as their final hero.
All right, what other hero have we already banned that we don't want to see in map number 3? That's the real question, chat. Okay, so technically a unique ban for the fourth one, I do believe, coming off of the board, but let's go ahead and get on down into it. I do suppose it could potentially be the last map around for the spring for the Lancers, unless they can lock things in and not only force a game number 5, but keep their state playoff hopes alive as well.
Well, it's interesting, too. This is a very heavy ban list targeting Artie. Obviously, you have the Emery, but you also have that Cassidy off the board. So it'll be really interesting to see what their next selection is after that. Of course, we saw Artie playing a little bit of Widow. I don't think you're going to play Widow for an entire map as in total, but maybe we'll get to see some absolute flick plays. Either way, for Loyalsock, it is a must-win here. They get to start on their attacking side as Central Bucks South will select defense. Midtown, hybrid, Loyalsock must win. Let's jump into map 4.
You want to remind people, last time we saw CB South start a map on the defensive side, they looked pretty darn impressive, Llama. So they're looking to try and do the same thing here, essentially set themselves a qualifying line that is rather obtainable for the attacking side. Yo, Braden, are you mad at the wall or what is up, big dog? Let's go ahead and get into it here.
Central Bucks South has a real chance to shut this one down before it even starts. They're bringing back Artie on the Bastion, so a lot of potency on this frontline damage, especially with the Quickster, who, like we said in both maps number 2 and 3, actually led in damage. Artie, though, is going to be back to the shenanigans. The jetpack cat didn't work for them in map number 1, so then why not? They're going to try it again, and this time it will find first blood.
Well, the question is, what can you build off of the back of it? As far as for now, the Lancers still caught at bay. They haven't even pushed to the other side of the bridge just quite yet. This is looking very similar to the start of map number 2, where CB South did not allow for the Lancers to get anything built. However, we're seeing Artie trying to go to the sky once again, and that's reminiscent of map number 1. That play didn't work then, and that play ain't working now.
It's going to come down to Jaiden versus Braden here to see who can win this first team fight in seed control. Central Bucks South are going to start the defensive look, but it's going to be Loyalsock building up that sections. It's the takedown again. Artie and IHOP Pancakes trying to work it. They will get one, and Skelefrost dropped very, very low, but they've already lost Braden on the backside as well. Artie needs to find the contest as they come in, they take down Skelefrost, and guess what? It's only Baki who's left alive, so a successful team fight here for the Titans.
Well, I mean, the Lancers at least got 2/3 unlocked. That means if they can get back to the point and be able to get control again, you'll at least only need a little bit to unlock the payload itself. The problem, though, is no more time has been unlocked, and we're now nearing in on that 2 minutes left.
Artillery form available from Artie as well, so the delay could be really huge. 0 ultimates other than the power of the sun from Liam. We'll see what they want to do with that healing pylon as well. Bouncing nade connects and takes Jaiden down just a chunk, but they should be able to get some damage here in the jetpack yet, and almost takes down IHOP Pancakes. All the while, the Quickster down low takes down 7 Seekers, denies the tire, but Jaiden's back with a railgun shot to the face. Is it enough to start the fight? Captive Sun active. Braden going with the overclock. Trades of ultimates here, and Loyalsock getting the better look, but it's the Thief who survives, who stays alive for only a moment as Jaiden finds the double kill, and Loyalsock clean up.
We talked about how they would only need 1/3 of that payload timer to be able to unlock it, and they do indeed do just that. 3:45 is what the clock moves up to as now they look to push forward, but that has bought time for the Titans from CB South to now essentially move up to this first bridge. Already reattached here to Hoppin' Cakes. Let's see what they can make shake.
Such an interesting meta we live in right now in Overwatch, and Bouncing Nade is going to go in to connect, but 4 ultimates available on both sides. Missing a DPS ultimate here from Central Bucks could be the game changer. There's the Graviton. It gets 3 here, but they're healing through it. Somehow they survive, and it's because Jaiden pops the overclock. Already finds the double kill. 4 players involved on the first 2 kills, and they just clean it up. Artie finds a triple Central Bucks South with a cut down from the Quickster's ultimate.
Well, they were able to unlock the payload, sure. And I guess maybe maybe call it hopium, I guess. But for Loyalsock, at least you didn't push the payload down into the actual, like, the little divot down underneath the tunnel. You can still get control of it and then be able to use it to break some line of sight if needed to later. But you still have to find a way to get control of the actual payload itself, and the Quickster and company are going to make that as difficult as possible.
They're holding really well. I mean, already waiting for that perfect time to pop the artillery form, get them even further pushed back. Seven Seekers is going to lose away from their tire, so that ultimate gets a diddly here. It's going to be Central Buck South who kind of battle from the skyline again from Artie, who finds the first blood on Seven Seekers, gets the damage on Liam, denies the resurrection, and dodges away from the Terra Surge. Jaiden will be the one that falls, but it doesn't matter. Baki is left all to their lonesome, and Central Buck South finds another fight win through the Quickster.
Continue to hold the line here as Loyalsock starting to run out of time. 1:42 left on the clock, and that might seem like a lot, but I promise you 100 seconds will disappear quickly. That's really only maybe 3 team fights, depending on how quickly they wrap up. You don't have very many more chances at it, Llama.
We have a few more bites of the cookie here. Jaiden swapping over to the Ash, trying to bring some extra damage potency. It's an early laser here from Thief over the top as Artie and Quickster just get the cleanup. Artie finds the double kill in the team fight. It is a ultimate you won't have, but another fight win for CB South.
Enemy team eliminated.
Have looked so good. They have not allowed for this payload to essentially get pushed past the first taxi that's leading down the way, which is honestly pretty darn impressive. It also allows for the Titans to continue to play with this high-low sort of angle. You're not all grouped together. You're able to play on multiple levels, and makes it harder for Loyalsock to really be able to feel comfortable fully pushing onto the actual payload point itself. You can see him trying to wrap around here, but even that just clutters people back together.
This ends now.
Oh, what a graviton again. That should just be a cleanup at the start. Artie finds the double kill, the bouncing nade to find the second off of another perfect graviton from the Quickster, who has definitely earned my vote of MVP for this series. 15 seconds to go. Loyalsock, a single fight to try and turn the tide here.
And I don't even know if it's the cleanest of fights either, because they're going to be so worried about pressing forward to get pressure onto the point. And because of that, Central Buck South is on a full press. Make sure they meet with that resistance early. Overtime Wick, though, has officially been lit, but you're already missing 2 players over on that Lancer side. Yeah, you got the big guy with 2 big guns for hands, but I don't think that's going to matter as everybody else continues to fall. And it's only a matter of time before CB South switch to the attacking side.
Quickster gets the cleanup once again off the double kill, and that's a charged up Zarya. Doesn't care if they get hacked. Loyalsock, they get the unlock of the payload, but aren't able to push it towards that second checkpoint. And now Central Buck South knows exactly how far they have to go. One good push is really all it takes, and they have been dominant. You were wondering, Q, at the end of that map number 1, where was the CB South that we had seen through the regular season? I think we found them.
Yeah, just a little slow out of the gates. You know what? This is early morning for our scholastic gamers. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if 1 or 2 of them was up during those usual gamer hours in this. I had to wipe the crusties from the eyes, you know, maybe drink not an energy drink, but a water or something to make sure that they're ready to go here early. But yeah, once they've shown up, they have absolutely turned up. And they are now just, 63 meters away from crowning themselves champion here.
17 eliminations there from the Quickster, 24 from Artie here to start off really well. The Quickster only died a single time, by the way, on that previous side. So as we switch things up, a clear target does emerge. And Central Buck South, even though that composition worked, they're going to go for a heavy burst composition front to back with the Sigma, and still playing that front line with the Juno speed rings to give them the extra boost. I do like that Jaiden is going to go onto this power pick. You have a chance to land these crossbow shots and take players out of the fight before it even starts.
I mean, not only do I get to see my dad once, but on either side of the server, mirroring Sigma's side me up, baby. Let's get down into it as the Titans will look to try and see just how quickly they can get control of this payload. Jaiden will be the first to fall, however. That will keep the Titans at bay, at least for now. Good thing for them is they've got time.
3.5 minutes. Obviously, if Loyalsock, though, can win this map number 4. They could send it off to a map number 5. CB South would get the map pick if it did go there. And just trading away some bouncing shots here. The Quickster dropped down to about 3/4. Jaiden, that's a nice burst. Takes down Jaiden. It's a fun little naming convention between the two of them. Quickster does find the tank takedown. Realistically, with the Quickster finding a double kill here, the spawns are so far away from Loyalsock. This should be the fight done.
Yeah, fight done. It should be the point capped as well, because if anyone's even close enough to find a touch, it's only 1 or 2 players. You're not going to try and stagger things out, especially with the fact that you need to only allow 62.46 meters to be acquired here from Central Bucks South. It's a pretty hard finish line to try and hold here, especially with 5 minutes on the board.
One fight is really all it takes. Jaiden is going to lose their life at the start. Liam, really good target selection to be able to take down that Echo. They've got a lot of aerial damage from that fashion, but they are just a front-to-back team fight with Artie as this lead cow on the damage side. Jaiden loses about half, gets that refresh, but is going to look for a wraparound here. Has the damage on Jaiden. Do they have the kill? No. Doesn't quite get the finish. And now Brayden's going to come back, land the splash on them. And that means Loyalsock has to go away. They've got the Nano and Baki. They're going to try and fight the front line. The sleep should not matter. This is a fight win for Loyalsock. Baki even gets the change of the melody on the backside.
I like the patience from Jaiden, though. Rotates from one side to the other, still able to find an opening, which does allow for the Lancers to continue to hold the line. 1 of those minutes has officially expired. You need to now do that for 4 more minutes. The problem, Quickster looking to try and find a quick opening here onto the opposing Sigma. Oh, looked for the ult, but got slept. Night.
And Artie is shut down on their own ultimate. 2 ultimates shut down for the price of basically nothing there. Loyalsock is really starting to turn the tide. They've got this tire. 7 Seekers should be able to blow them up. And there goes the IHOP Pancakes, exploded into a dust of smithereens. As the Quickster falls next, they'll pop 2 more ultimates. The echoed ultimate from the Sigma. Artie finding a railgun shot there on Skelefrost, and somehow, some way, this was a fight back. But Jaiden's got that tactical visor to wag the finger in front of their face.
Well, they were able to continue to hold the line. It's another team fight won. And maybe, just maybe, the Lancers can put this thing together. They've been able to keep this payload pretty well into the same spot. Quickster tries to find the stun, finds that, but Baki somehow stays alive.
Oh, that orbital laser is so good, and it looks like the Nano is gonna miss. It connects on the Juno here on the back line. So sure, the damage boost is nice, but I think you wanted either the Sigma or Artie on that connection. And with that, all of the ultimates are gone. We're back to the neutral game again. Loyalsock has really played this well and cut down the timing. All it takes is 1 fight. It's not going to start as a good one, though, for Central Bucks South. They lose 1/2 of their DPS duo. IHOP Pancakes taken low. Artie doesn't have the help to peek, and the Quickster is antied.
Actuating the barrier.
Here we are, 2.5 minutes, well, 2 minutes and 25 seconds, 15 seconds now left as far, and the CB South has closed in on the point. They're trying to see if they can push this thing, this final 12 meters to get across, but again, another strong team fight from the Lancers holds the line.
Couple more of those, and all of a sudden, it's turned on its head here and maybe force them at 5. Artie, though, has been the game changer. Here comes the Quickster with the melody change up towards the high ground. Baki's going to be dropped on down, and here comes the bouncing shots. Still somehow surviving. Baki's got their own melody to change. The rock goes wide. Artie does not. A connection between the goalposts on the dome, and Loyalsock losing their tank, losing the backline. This map is all but done off the back of Artie's railgun shots. It's a team kill, it's a map victory, and a series win for Central Bucks South.
I think if Baki finds their ult and is at least able to lift the squad as they're rounding the corner, maybe there's enough time for the respawns to come across for Loyalsock to be able to at least fight that thing back. But unfortunately, it's just not the case. And a lot of the work throughout the course of, honestly, the series, but especially map number 4, has been done by that young man right here, Artie, who has another top play to help lead the way for CB South.
I mean, everybody did a lot of work, but Artie and the Quickster joined in together. 32,000 damage. You add up the eliminations, crazy as well. Over 60 between the two of them. And it just feels like everybody had their moments in a series where Central Buck South started in a pit. They had to climb out of that map number 1 loss. They came back to win 3 straight in a row. By the way, the Quickster, I know tank accuracy, you don't usually take that into account, but the Quickster, 51% accuracy on that map.
Pretty darn impressive all the way across, honestly, from the full 5 over for the Titans. And you were talking about a team a little slow out of the gate, but really what separates the best from the rest is how you are able to overcome adversity. And here today, CB South, they lost map number 1 just to bounce back with 3 straights to be able to get yet another conference championship to be able to put into their trophy cabinet back at the school, this time for our D1 Scranton Conference champion. So we've now crowned 2. We have 4 more titles to be able to hand out here today. 1 more when it comes to Overwatch. And I guess since we've been doing so much Overwatch here to start off the day, we might as well do that next year, Llama, as we will be now moving to D2 over to our East Conference. It'll be Lancaster Catholic High School versus Hempfield. This is going to be a 1 versus 3 seed, as Hempfield was able to take down the 2 seed in their semi-conference matchup. You're not going to want to miss it. Don't stray too far away from your screens as we do flip over our schools at the facility itself for Wilson, maybe a couple of minutes, but on the other side, we'll be back with more Overwatch right after this.